Right. Again, we're talking with head coach Quinn Gray Sr. of Albany State University. Coach, when you talk about the profession that you're in, coaching as a college head coach, you played for a legendary head coach and coach Billy Joe down at FAMU. Um, what were some of the things or some of the lessons that you took from your time there at FAMU under Coach Joe, playing in that Gulf Coast offense that have helped you in your career, whether it's getting to the NFL, but now also kind of being in that same seat as a molder of young men over at Albany State?
I think for me the biggest part was the mentorship that Coach Billy Joe gave to us as young men, and obviously he taught us a tremendous amount of football, the ability to apply the game of football to life situations, and then he also gave us the tools to go out there and perform each and every Saturday. And for that, that's the same thing we try to do here at Albany State in terms of our student athletes. We try to first make them better people, and if we can make them better people, by all means, we can sure make them better football players. Because at the end of the day, if you're a better person, you're gonna probably be a better football player because you're gonna be coachable. You're gonna be willing to learn. You're gonna be willing to listen. And as our illustrious AD always likes to say, we're trying to create legacies here. We're trying to give these kids opportunities to create their legacy here at Albany State, create their own fingerprint here at Albany State, and leave their legacy on this university. Because the people that have come before us, like people come before me, Coach Hamp Smith, Coach Mike White, people like that, they've left their stamp here on Albany State, and that's what we want to do here at Albany State, is leave that legacy once this thing is all said and done. But at the end of the day, Coach Billy Joe had a tremendous part in my matriculation through college, and then also the NFL. Obviously, he's as a quarterback at Florida A&M, you had to know the offense inside out, so you had to know everything about what the defense was trying to do to you, and also know our offense in and out because you called all the plays. Coach Billy Joe gave you the game plan during the week, and on Friday he made sure that you were good to go, and Saturday it was up to you to go out there and win those games. Although he may have given you some insight during the game and some suggestions, but Coach Joe relied on us to know what we were doing out there and take what the defense was giving us to go out and call plays against 34, 35-year-old defensive coordinators as we were 19, 20, 21-year-old quarterbacks. So that part of the game helped me and my counterparts, Pat Bonner, O.T. Miss Sampson, Jaywan Sider, guys like that, go out and defeat some formidable foes back in that time. So I think that part of it, although I don't let the quarterbacks call their plays, I think the opportunity to do that gave me a different perspective of the game of football that a lot of folks might not have necessarily had in their careers. So, I'm truly honored and blessed to have played for such a coach as Billy Joe, and having the opportunity to learn under his tutelage and take that part of the game and apply it to everything that I do to this point in my career as a coach and formerly as a player. So, Coach Billy Joe, hats off to you, my brother. Love you forever.
No doubt. Yeah, you definitely got to clear. Glad you cleared that up. You definitely got to have your quarterbacks telling you that they can call your plays now.
For me, man, the transfer portal is what it is these days. We just back then we just didn't have those same opportunities to do what the kids are doing these days, and that's just hightailing it whenever they don't feel like they're getting a fair shot. You know what I mean? I never the thing that kept me at FAMU was I always felt like I got a fair shot. Whether I performed well enough to earn the starting position, that was all up to me. There was never a time where I felt like I was being mistreated. There was never a time where I felt like I wasn't given the fair shot to win the starting position. In 2000, matter of fact, let's go back to 99. In 99, I earned the starting position at Florida A&M after Pat Bonner left. Jaywan Sider came in from West Virginia, and he came in, and I had a really, really good camp. And I had a really, really good spring. The spring before, had a really, really good fall camp, and ended up starting the season as the starter against University of Miami, played against Morgan State, then went down to Tennessee State and didn't play so well and ended up getting injured. And the next week, I wasn't well enough to play. And J1 had a historic game. I think he threw for 4 touchdowns, ran for another 2 or 3. And when it came down to it, why would Coach Billy Joe, not allow him to start the next game? I wasn't fully healthy at that point, but I wasn't bitter either. He, at the end of the day, Coach Billy Joe was very, very instrumental in terms of communication, in terms of talking to the quarterbacks and helping us understand why he was doing certain things. So there was no animosity, there was no beef, because I learned tremendously from O.T. Sanson, who ended up transferring from Albany State to FAMU. And then I learned tremendously from Pat Bonner, who transferred from Temple to FAMU. And I learned tremendously from J1 Sider, who transferred from West Virginia. So at the end of the day, all 3 of those guys were instrumental in my matriculation and my maturation when it came down to the Florida A&M offense and being a collegiate quarterback. So, I think our kids these days are a little bit entitled when it comes down to it. But, at the end of the day, you sort of you have to be able to adjust with the times. Like I tell my kids, I don't change. I just make adjustments. You know what I mean? I'm able to adjust to the times. I'm able to adjust of how the portal works. Our coaching staff is able to adjust to how the portal works. We got to be able to adjust to the minds of these kids and understand what their thought process is. You got kids that you make offers to, and you offer scholarships, but sometimes they want bigger, and they're bigger. And as a coach, that bigger isn't coming, but they choose to wait. And what, as a coach, what do? Do you wait for them to get that disappointing news and say, okay, coach, I'll come? Or do you go out and find somebody who would appreciate that opportunity a lot sooner than somebody that's waiting on it? So, the ever-changing landscape of college football, man, you have to be able to adjust to it and make the necessarily changes when it comes down to, recruiting and dealing with the portal. But I never thought about leaving Florida A&M. My time there, I thought Coach Billy Joe was just too good of a coach to leave, man. Again, I never felt like I didn't get a fair shot at anything at Florida A&M, which ultimately kept me there, because I always thought Coach Billy was always fair. He always gave everybody the same amount of time to put hold onto the position. And when it was your time, it was your time. And when you was ready to play, you was ready to play. And fortunately for me, that was 99, the first 3 games, and then 2000, 2001. So the rest is history.